Cody.
Video title: Welcome, teachers.
Hey, it's Cody from eye.t, and welcome to the Screen Reader Curriculum Part 1, Working with Text. Now I want to start by offering you a huge thank you. You are helping your learner take a huge step in their education by guiding them through the process of learning a screen reader. Now for people with visual impairments who are primarily auditory or tactile learners, learning a screen reader like JAWS, NVDA, Chromebox, or VoiceOver for Mac is the key to learning how to use a computer. And we all know using a computer is the key to being employed, ordering food, paying taxes, or even staying connected with family and friends. Now before we get started, I want to introduce you to the Screen Reader Curriculum. The Screen Reader Curriculum is a set of online courses that you will use to instruct your learner. This particular course is Part 1, and as the title suggests, will be used to teach your learner how to read, write, and edit text. Now the benefit of the Screen Reader Curriculum is that we have created everything for you. No need to lesson plan, and no more wondering what to teach next. This instructor edition is just like the teacher's manual of a textbook. On each page, there will not only be student videos that you can use to teach your learner how to use that screen reader, but there will also be instructor materials that will show you the best strategies that you can use to help your learner through each module. These instructor materials might be additional videos, data sheets, lesson plans, or practice activities. In this first module, we will cover how to use this curriculum, which screen reader and word processor to use, how to assess your learner, and introduce the very exciting practice activities that we have in store. For now, take a look at the next video in this module. In that video, we're going to show you how to use this curriculum, and that way, we're going to get you ready for that first lesson with your learner.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to eye.t Live. This is Cody LaPlante. I'm actually live with you here. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen and make sure that my camera is on. But I guess my camera is not on. Well, welcome everybody anyway. I'm going to turn on my other camera. So this is my webcam. My other camera is pointed in my direction as well. But man, thank you guys so much for coming. If you joined us yesterday, we appreciate you coming back. We have gone through kind of a crazy time here at eye.t. My internet service provider that we have here in the studio apparently is installing fiber optic, which is amazing. But yesterday they told us, hey, guess what? You have no internet today. So we appreciate you all coming back. Now, before we get started, I do want to share with you guys that we are going to be doing a lot of different things today. But before we even get started, I want to ask your guys' opinion on something, and that is a poll for those of you who have used poll everywhere. That's what we are going to use today. So let me get this started for you. First of all, Mohammed is going to, I'm going to introduce Mohammed in a second for sure. But Mohammed is going to drop a link in the comments section if you're joining us live. And that link is going to be, it's going to be pollev.com/CodyL901. I'm going to show you what that link does right here on my screen. All right, let me share it for you. And that link will bring you to a screen that looks like this. And it's going to ask you a question. It says, the more key commands you have, the better you are at using a screen reader. What I want to know is how much do you agree with that statement? Do you say, I strongly agree, I agree, I disagree, or I strongly disagree? Which one of those fits you the best? All right. And as we do this, I'm going to come back on here and I'm going to present my screen. I'm going to stop sharing because I want you guys to, oh my gosh, we already have some people. I'm going to stop sharing because I don't want to give it away. As you do this, I'm going to, number one, check on my main camera so you guys can get a better view. And then when I come back, whether or not I can get that working, I'm going to explain to you what we're doing today. So hold on real tight. Okay, let's see if it works now. There's my main or my webcam, and there's my main camera. Look at that. Amazing. As I see answers coming in, if you just came into our meeting, what we're doing is we're answering a poll question. Mohammed has put that link in the chat for Poll Everywhere. What we want to know is you're going to be given a statement. The more key commands you know, the better you are at using a screen reader. How much do you agree with that statement? Do you strongly agree, disagree, or strongly disagree? All right. If you have any questions, you're going to put them in the chat. And that leads me to my next segue. First of all, I want to introduce my amazing staff member, Mohammed. Mohammed, whenever you have a second, go ahead, come on and say hi for us.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, Mohammed is one of our team members here at IT, and he runs our communications department along with our other communication specialist, Kamran, who couldn't be here today. But if you've ever seen anything posted on social media, chances are Mohammed wrote that for us. So today he is going to be helping us out by being in the chat, in the comments section with you guys. So if you have any questions, if you have anything that you'd like to share, or any questions on how to access the poll or screen reader questions in general, you can ask him there, okay? Now, I want to tell you guys what's going on today. So if you just joined us, if you joined us yesterday, we really appreciate you coming back. Again, my internet service provider installing fiber optic cable, which is amazing. They said they're very excited to install a fiber optic cable in our area. That's great. But we lost our internet connection yesterday. Now, today, I have also been having internet troubles. So we're going to see how much of this live stream we can get through today. If I lose you, I have my phone right in front of me that I can still be on the meeting with you. And if I lose both for some reason, Mohammed's going to come on and we're going to be like, hey, we got through enough, right? So we have a very consistent phrase that we say at IT is that we like to embrace the mess. If you ever saw our video on how technology falls apart, we love embracing the mess. That is, when things don't go right with technology, we just got to go with it and live with it and do our best, right? So we are embracing the mess. So that's what we've been doing for the past couple of days, embracing the mess. If you just came on, make sure to fill out that poll, all right? That link in the comments section, click on it, answer the question. The more key commands you know, the better you are at using a screen reader. Tell us, do you strongly agree, disagree, or strongly disagree? Tell us on that poll, all right? Before we even show you the results of that poll, I want to do some housekeeping here. The second thing that I want to share with you, second link that we want to share with you, is we want to know a little bit about you guys who are joining us live. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to ask you to fill out a form that asks you some questions, all right? Now, this form, first of all, it's only 5 questions. And the reason we want to know who you guys are is because we want to get free content to you guys as effectively, as efficiently as possible on the social media platforms that you use. So feel free to fill out the form. Mohammed's going to put that link in the chat. I'm going to show you what this form looks like. All right, here's our form. We only ask 5 questions, of course, name and email. We're going to ask you, have you purchased IT's products before? Yes or no? What is your position? Are you a TBI, O&M, special educator? Who are you in the field? What screen reader do you most want to focus on? You want to learn JAWS, NVDA, Chromebox, VoiceOver for Mac? Which one do you want to focus on? What software? And finally, what software with a screen reader would you like to focus on? Oh, I'm sorry. And finally, what's social media platform? So only 5 main questions. And then also, if you'd like to receive updates via email, including live streams like this, other events that we're doing, and also we're starting back again our screen reader tidbits strategy, where we send you emails every week with screen reader key commands. If you would like that stuff, go ahead and say, yes, I would like to receive information via email. If not, no problem, you're going to click no. Now, you might be thinking, why am I filling out this form? Well, today, during our live stream, if you're joining us live, you will be offered a 10% off coupon to all our products tomorrow in your email inbox, all right? So that's only if you fill out the form today with us live, okay? This will shut down once we end the live stream, so fill it out live. We're gonna give you that whole live stream time to do it. Now, the other reason why you should fill out this form is that if, for those that fill out the form live with us today, you will be entered for a chance to win a prize that we will tell you about today in our live stream. So definitely fill out the form for 10% off coupon and a chance to win our raffle that we're going to be doing for those with us live. Now, if you are just joining us, that's the second link. Fill out the form. Welcome to IT Live. Fill out the form is number 2. And then number 1, make sure to click on that poll everywhere link, pollev.com/CodyL901. What we want to know is we gave you a statement and we said, the more key commands you know, the better you are at using a screen reader. How much do you agree or disagree with that statement? That's that first link that's in the chat, okay? And we're going to come back to those questions in a sec. Now, let's take a minute to talk about what we're going to do today. That is, if we get it through today's live stream without any internet issues. So we have 2 goals today. The first goal is we want to teach you something, all right? Today, I'm going to teach you how to place your cursor with a screen reader. Now, if you don't know what that means, that's great. You're in the right place. Stay with us. That's the first thing. The second thing is I want to introduce you to the screen reader curriculum. That's the video that I showed you at the beginning of this live stream. Now, the screen reader curriculum is one of our paid products, and it is a multimedia curriculum that does the heavy lifting of instruction for you. It does the heavy lifting of instruction for you. What does that mean? Well, we know that as vision professionals, we have so many things to learn, right? I myself am in going to different schools and seeing different students doing screen reader instruction, doing CVI assessments, doing assessments on kids with CVI, doing regular functional vision assessments. We're doing all of these different things. And if you do not teach technology every day, that's a really tall order, right? If you're going to try to teach a student JAWS, that's a lot to try to learn on your own. Instead, we have built this curriculum, which I'm introducing to you today, that will do that heavy lifting, of instruction for you. Instead of teaching everything from your own mouth, you now have videos, practice activities, data sheets, pre-tests, a post-test to lean on so that you don't have to think of every single word. All right, so those are the 2 things. I'm going to teach you something, and I'm going to show you the screen reader curriculum. Now, we're not doing those things separately. I'm actually going to teach you cursor placement with the screen reader curriculum, with that new course. All right. Now, just some things that I forgot to mention. The screen reader curriculum is 2 parts, right? There's the first part, which just came out. It's called Working with Text. That's the part we're going to focus on today. It covers reading, writing, and editing text. Things like cursor placement, reading commands, navigating documents with headings, formatting with the Microsoft Word ribbon, right? That's part 1. We're going to go over it today. But you've also might have seen our part 2, which is basic internet navigation. If you're interested on things like how to navigate the internet with quick keys, how to navigate with elements lists, go ahead and see our other YouTube videos on that curriculum, because we have tons and tons of videos on that particular topic, okay? But today we are particularly focused on working with text, which is reading, writing, and editing text, all right? Let's take a look at our poll. For those of you who did our poll, let's see what we got here. It looks like everybody that filled out our poll, let me share my screen here, agrees with that statement. Let me share here. So this is what we got. The more key commands you know, the better you are at using a screen reader. Everybody said, I agree, 100%. Now that could be 1 person, it could be a million people, right? We don't know, but 100% of the people that answered this poll said, I agree. The more key commands you are, the better you are at using a screen reader. Now, I'm going to tell you, I actually disagree with that statement, right? Doesn't mean you're wrong. If you said, I agree, totally go with it, right? That is your opinion. My opinion is I disagree with the statement. Why? Well, today we're going to show you, right? Today I'm going to show you. And I want to keep this question in mind, because as we go through our live stream, today I'm going to kind of prove to you or make a good case to you about why I disagree with the fact that the more key commands you know, the better you are at using a screen reader. Why do I disagree with that? All right, good. Mohammed, do we happen to have anybody in the chat with questions? Are we good on that end?
No questions yet.
All right, awesome. Sounds good. I'm going to be checking in with Mohammed as we go through, just in case you guys have questions. So feel free to use Mohammed. Take advantage of the fact that we are live today. Otherwise, we could just do a recorded video. So ask your questions, please. All right, so I'm going to move over to our first thing that we're going to go over. And again, we are talking about cursor placement today. Specifically, how do I place my cursor using NVDA, JAWS, or Chromevox? Now, the thing that I want to just reiterate is that all of our curriculum, including working with text and basic internet navigation, they all include those 3 screen readers. You can learn this information with JAWS, you can learn it for Chromevox, you can learn it for NVDA. How is that possible? Well, all 3 of those screen readers use almost the same key commands, okay? So this will apply, everything that we're going to cover today will apply for NVDA, JAWS, and Chromevox. There's no difference in the key commands for the stuff we're covering today. All right, so let's take a look at our first video. Again, we're learning about cursor placement. Now, before we this is our screen reader curriculum, okay? If I go onto our home page, I'm just going to open a new tab. I'm going to go to itvision.com. If you've been here before, this might look familiar. I'm going to go up to catalog, and you'll see our courses here. First, we have our mini course. You're always able to enroll in that. If you want to get your feet wet with screen reader instruction, that's a great place to start. And then you'll see we have our 2 courses. Part 1 we're going over today is working with text. Remember, reading, writing, and editing with a screen reader. Things like Microsoft Word commands, Google Docs, stuff like that. And then we have our basic internet navigation courses. Notice how we have an instructor edition and a student edition of our basic internet navigation course. We only have an instructor edition of working with text currently. We will be coming out with a student edition soon. All right, so keep on that. But why are there 2 editions? Why is there an instructor edition and a student edition? Well, if I come back to our curriculum here, notice that as I'm in my modules, right, we're starting on module F today. Notice that I have instructor, and I have all of my instructor videos here. Those videos look like this. They have a gray background, and they are lettered ABC. Now, if I go down, you can see now I have a student section, and I have videos that are in white, and they're labeled 1, 2, 3. What you will do, if you have a copy of the screen reader curriculum working with text, you will come on here, and we have created instructor videos for you. Pretty much we are going to tell you first, hey, in this module, you're going to be teaching cursor placement. Here's how it works. This is what to look out for. This is how your student might struggle, right? The first thing that we're going to be showing you is a pattern. Every module has a pattern. So that's part of our instructor resources. But then what we do is then we go down, if I scroll down again, go to the student activities, you'll watch all the instructor videos, and then in your service with your student, you're going to show them the student video. And you'll see how those 2 are different. That's what we're going to show you today. So without further ado, I'm going to show you an instructor video first. We're going to learn about cursor placement. So let's learn about it.
Word open with 1 sentence.
Let me start in a better place. Here we go.
Microsoft Word open with 1 sentence on it. It says, this module will cover the basics of cursor placement. Now I'm going to blur the screen so you can't use any vision. I'll read the sentence using my word-by-word reading command.
Module will cover the basics of cursor placement.
Now that I have read the last word of the sentence, where do you think my cursor is?
So think about it. The last word that the screen reader said was placement. Where is that cursor?
In other words, if I was going to type something, where would I begin typing? You might think that my cursor should be at the end of the word placement. Well, let's find out. Look at that. My cursor is not at the end of the sentence. It is in fact between the words cursor and placement. These are the mistakes that your learner might make that will result in a document that is a complete mess. And as you can see, it's not very straightforward.
If you've ever taught a student to use a screen reader, this document might look pretty familiar. On the screen, there is a document and there's tons of tabs and spaces and everything is kind of all over the place. If you've taught your student how to use a screen reader and you taught them reading commands, right? How to read character by character, letter by letter, word by word, sentence by sentence, then you might think, oh, okay, they're ready to edit a document, right? They can read, they can type, we're ready to go. You give them a document and it comes back looking like this. Everything is everywhere. What in the world happened? Well, it's because they didn't know how to place their cursor. Remember at the very beginning, I said, the more key commands you know, the better you are at placing your cursor. And I said, I disagree with that statement. Why? Because this skill, cursor placement, doesn't involve any key commands, but it is a super important skill in order to learn how to effectively use a computer with a screen reader. We have to know it. No key commands involved, but we still have to know it.
That's why this module is the most important module in the entire course, because cursor placement is the #1 skill your learner must have to write or edit anything in any word processor.
Can I get an amen? For sure.
So without further ado, let's learn the pattern for this module. The pattern for this module is called Look to the Right. Look to the right refers to the fact that our screen reader will say anything that is to the right of our cursor. For example, in the word this, if you are reading character by character and your cursor is between the letters T and H, your screen reader will say the letter to the right, which in this case is H. Let's see it.
Demonstrated with JAWS.
I'll read character by character until my cursor is between T and H, and you will see it says the character to the right, which is H.
Space, L, U, D, O, M, space, S, I, H. Hotel.
It works the same with words, too.
And we are going to stop there. So you can see we just broke everything down that you need to know for this module. Not everything, because there are more videos that we did include for you for a reason. But you can see, hey, guess what? This is what this module is going to cover. We're going to teach your student this, right? That the character or the word that is on the right of the cursor, that's what the screen reader is going to say. That's the pattern. If they don't come away with anything else from this module, they should come away with that. That's the goal, okay? That's for every module. We have a pattern just like this, all right? So now you as the instructor have watched this video. You're like, okay, I understand. I get it, what's going on. You're not going to show this video to your learners. Why? Well, because we have a special video that explains the exact same concept, but in really more concrete, more evidence-based teaching methods terms, right? We have a better way to explain it to your learner, and that's what I'm going to show you now. All right. So as you can see, remember, main point, this will do the heavy lifting for you, as in you don't have to know everything there is to know about cursor placement. We've just taught it to you. All right. Now, let's see what your learner is going to watch. Let's see what your learner is going to watch. I want to make sure I got the right timestamp. Beautiful. There it is. All right. So now I'm going to teach you the same concept. Look to the right, but this is what you're going to watch with your learner. You've already watched all your instructor videos. Now let's do service with your learner. Let's see what they do.
In this video, I'll be showing you how to place your cursor when you're reading character by character.
Same concept, right? Same concept.
But first, let's talk a little bit about where our cursor is on the document. To sighted users, the cursor is a vertical blinking line that sits between two characters on our document. Let's use an example here. Let's start by thinking about the first word on our practice document, fog, F-O-G. Now let's say I want to type the letter R between F and O to make the new word frog, F-R-O-G. To do this, I'm going to start by asking you to do something a little strange. I want you to place your hands face down on your lap or on the table in front of you. Pretend that your left hand is the letter F and your right hand is the letter O. Now let's pretend that our cursor is between those letters, F and O, between your left and your right hand. If I type an R here, that R will appear right where my cursor is, between F and O. Let's do another example. Let's move down to the next word on our practice document, dog.
Before we get to that other example, I want to reiterate, do you notice how we just introduced a whole new instructional method that will teach your learner how to do this skill, right? In the instructor video, we just explained it to you. We showed you the animation. Hopefully you can get it, but if not, now in the student edition, or I'm sorry, in the student video, we now have given you a whole instructional method, which is hands on the table, right? Making in the example of fog, if you want to add an R between F and O, your left hand is F, your right hand is O, cursor is in the middle, right? And that's where the letter is going to be. You can see where we're going with this, right? You can see where we're going with this. As in, then we're going to ask our learner, hey, the screen reader is in between F and O. What did the screen reader say? It always says what's on the right. I'm jumping ahead. I'm going to show you the rest of the video.
D-O-G. On this one, I'm going to add the letter R again between D and O to make the nonsense word drog, D-R-O-G. Let's do the same exercise. Get those hands on the table. Your left hand is the letter D, your right hand is the letter O, and where is that cursor? That's right, it's between your hands. If that is where my cursor is and I type the letter R, it will pop up right in between your hands. Right between the letters D and O.
Wait. So I get that I need to place my cursor where I want to write, but how will I know that it's in the right spot?
Hey Q, great question. So to figure this out, let's do the same examples again and see what our screen reader says. Let's start with that word fog, F-O-G. Remember, we're adding an R to make it frog, F-R-O-G. So now let's start by placing our cursor. Remember, get those hands on the table. Our left hand is F and our right hand is O, and we're trying to put that cursor right in the middle. Left hand F, right hand O. I'm going to place my cursor and see what our screen reader says. You ready?
1, T, H, E, space, F, O.
So what did the screen reader say? It said O, didn't it? Is that our left hand or our right hand? Yeah, it was our right hand, wasn't it? Now let's do the same example with dog. Remember, I'm making that nonsense word drog, D-R-O-G. Again, I'm placing my cursor between D and O. So my left hand is D, my right hand is O, and I'm putting that cursor right in the middle so we can add that R. You ready? Let's see what our screen reader says.
2, T, H, E, space, D, O.
All right, our cursor is between D and O. What did our screen reader say? It said O, didn't it? Now, was that our left hand or our right hand? It was our right hand again. So Q, in both cases, which character did our screen reader say, the left or the right?
It said the character to the right.
Exactly. And guess what? We found the pattern for this module. It's called look to the right. Look to the right means that the screen reader will always say what is to the right of your cursor. When you place your cursor, listen to your screen reader and think about those hands. Remember that the cursor is between them and the screen reader is going to say the character that is to the right. Let's practice this with a couple of other words.
So do you see what we did there, right? Where we are now walking our learner through this very difficult concept to understand and to visualize using their hands, right? Now, There's a reason why we split the instructor videos and the student videos, right? Think about you as a teacher. If you're watching this and you're an instructor or a parent and you want to help your student, your learner through this process, be their coach, we want you to have all of the information at the very beginning. We want you to understand the pattern. We want you to understand the instructional objective. That's why we have instructor videos, right? Because we're like, hey, guess what? This is what we're about to do. But we don't want our learner to learn that way. We want them to learn this way, right? Where they're building their knowledge over time, taking it nice and slow so that we remember all of these really cool concepts. That's the first thing I want to talk to you about. The second thing is, notice how we haven't even talked about one key command this entire time. But you can see, wow, this is a really important concept. If your students don't understand this, that's why their documents are going to look crazy, right? That's why they're going to look a mess. So at the very beginning, I asked you that question. The more key commands you know, the better you are at using a screen reader. This is why I disagree. Doesn't mean that key commands are not an important part of learning a screen reader. They definitely are. But the most important part, just like math, just like reading, just like anything else we teach in school, the most important part is understanding why and what are we doing and why, right? The most important part of teaching a screen reader is not teaching a screen reader. It's learning to use a computer. That's what we're doing here, all right? And this is the thing that lots of people in our field seem to overlook. And what we're trying to do for you guys is, hey, be like, hey, not only do you not have to overlook it anymore, we've done it for you. We've done all of this heavy lifting, right? So now let me watch the video. See if you can follow along. I'm going to give some examples in the video. Think about, I'm going to say, where is my cursor? What did my screen reader say? See if you can answer these questions.
Let's start with the word big, B-I-G. I'll move the cursor and you guess which two letters the cursor is between.
B. I.
Where is my cursor? Well, the screen reader stopped at the letter I, so that means my right hand must be I. The cursor must be between B and I. Let's do another example with the same word.
B. I. G.
This time the screen reader stopped at G. Q, which two letters is my cursor between?
Before Q answers, Q was our animated character that we did for this course. But before Q answers, what do you think it is? The last thing that the screen reader said was G, right? Remember, look to the right. It's going to say what's on the right. So what two letters is the screen reader between? Is it between B and I? Or is it between I and G? Or is it at the end of G? Let's find out.
Between the I and the G?
That's right, it's between I and G. Let's do some examples with another word. Pan.
And we are going to stop this video there, but you can see we really are walking your learner through this very difficult concept. And all you really need to do is exactly what I'm doing, stopping the video, being like, isn't that cool? What do you think? Engaging your learner. That is your role, and that's really, really important for you to do. If we could do this on our own, this is what we always say, if we could do this on our own, if we could release YouTube videos and have it reach students and have them be engaged, that's what we would do. But guess what? We need somebody with them to coach them through this process, to help them through understanding this part by engaging them in activities, right? We can't just show them a video and be like, here you go, be engaged and learn, right? We need you to be that person that I'm being right now, stopping the video, engaging the learner in the content, assessing what they're doing and do they actually get it, right? Being a teacher, okay? But do you need to know how to use a screen reader? Do you need to completely understand cursor placement? No, not anymore, right? That's why we have the screen reader curriculum, all right? So I hope you guys understand cursor placement. I'm going to do a couple of reminders. It looks like we haven't lost internet yet, so that's pretty good. So we're doing good overall. A couple of reminders. First of all, if you are joining us live, we're so excited that you're here. If you have not yet seen, we have a link in the chat that goes to a Google form. Now, if you fill out this Google form with some information so that we can provide the best content to you guys where you're finding it, if you fill out that Google form, we are offering a 10% off coupon on all of our products. That doesn't mean working with text. That means basic internet navigation, the instructor bundle, all of our products, 10% off if you fill out the form live with us today. This will shut off after the live stream ends. So feel free to take care of that or take advantage of this 10% off coupon. And we have a very special raffle that is specific to this live stream today. If you fill out the form, we have 2 prizes that we are raffling off. If you fill out the form, you're going to be entered for a chance to win one of those prizes. All right. So definitely fill out the form. It's only 5 questions. I promise it's nice and easy. All right. Mohammed, do we have any questions in the chat? Are we good on that end?
No questions yet. Cassie says hi, and Kathleen correctly predicted between I and G when you asked about cursor placement.
Nice. Nice to see you, Cassie. Hi as well. And Kathleen, very nice job. I'm glad that we explained that well enough for you to grasp it. That was good. Awesome. All right. So now the question is, like I said, we don't just have videos in our screen reader curriculum. The question now is we've done the instruction, or we've done a shortened version of the instruction. We only have an hour. But now how do we practice with our learner, right? Well, if you've ever been a teacher of assistive technology, you know, especially if you've been a teacher of assistive technology and have been teaching text-based skills like we are here, you know that it's really hard to figure out how do we practice. What do we usually do? We pull up a random story that we found on Newsella or ReadWorks, or we just find something random and we're like, okay, let's read this story, right? And that's totally fine. But we wanted to do something different. We wanted to do something more meaningful for this working with text curriculum. So what we did was we commissioned an entire children's chapter book that goes along with this curriculum, so that once the learner completes a module, then they move on to the chapter book and actually use the things that they talked about in the module to read the chapter book. All right. Now, this chapter book is called Through the Magnifying Glass. It's by Frankie Ann Marcel, who is an amazing children's book author, a part of the visual impairments community. And she actually already has a picture book out called Yes. So definitely check that out. We can provide the links to her website in the description of this video afterwards. But she wrote this amazing book called Through the Magnifying Glass for us and for this curriculum. I'm going to show you a little bit about that now, but do you remember how I said fill out the form in order to win one of 2 raffle prizes? Well, I have 2 very special announcements. The first one is those raffle prizes are, we commissioned Frankie to write the book for us, but she has retained the copyright and she is publishing it in print, available for pre-order right now. One of those prizes, actually both of those prizes, they're 2 print copies of the Through the Magnifying Glass book that we bought from her. So if you fill out the form that's available on our live stream today, you will be entered for a chance to win one of 2 copies of Through the Magnifying Glass. Now, if you're like, I don't know what this book is, I'm about to show you. First, I'm going to give you a little synopsis. The book is about a middle school girl named Julia who has a visual impairment, and she lives in a town in New York where the Baseball Hall of Fame is. Now, her brother, who's a little bit older than her, and her brother's friends, now they are working to solve a mystery of somebody coming into the Baseball Hall of Fame and stealing a missing baseball, a signed baseball. Now, the problem that Julia has is she has to work through all of the identity issues that all of our middle school students have, right, that have visual impairments. How do I use my cane and not feel embarrassed? How do I feel comfortable using my magnifier? How do I use a screen reader and feel okay, right? And so she has to figure out all of this stuff in order to contribute to solving this mystery with her friends. It really is a really great book. I'm going to show you a sample of it today. And from a personal note, I've known Frankie for a while. Her and I grew up in the blind services division in Connecticut, right? BESPI, great shout out to BESPI, they're a great organization. And when I reached out to her and we were kind of talking about what we wanted to do with the book, she came back with I thought it was going to be great. But when I read that first draft, I really did cry at the end because it really sums up my childhood as somebody with low vision. But also we're just so excited to share this with our students because it really just does sum up that visual impairment experience or can relate to that visual impairment experience. So let me show you a little bit about this book. As I do, well, I'll save that for the end for sure. But if you do want a print copy of the magnifying glass, fill out the form that's available in our live stream. The link is in the comments section. All right, so here it is. Here's our print copy of, our electronic copy of Through the Magnifying Glass. This is available with the Working with Text curriculum. So if you buy a license of the Working with Text curriculum, you're able to download this or access it with Google Docs. You're able to give it to your student. Whatever you need to do to give them access to it is fine with us. Now, after we do each module, for example, we're in module F, cursor placement. You are then going to read the corresponding chapter 6 in this case, with your learner. Now, if we just read this second paragraph, take a look at this. My class was my last class of the day was PE, which happens to be my very least favorite. I like sports, but it's really difficult for me to play them without adaptations, right? Sounds familiar, right? So what we're going to do is, as I said, your students are going to read a chapter, do a module in the course, read a chapter in the book. But what happens in modules A, B, and C when they don't know how to read using a screen reader yet, right? If we come back here, module A is the welcome module, right? Module B is prerequisite skills. That's like turning on the screen reader, all optional things, opening and closing programs, just to make sure that we all know those basic things that we need to get access to. Module C is modifier keys, and then module D, okay, we learn reading commands and we can read the book. But what do we do for those first three? Well, we provided an audio recording of the book that Frankie is actually voiceovered for us. Now, this is a temporary, we're going to be animating a whole video for this particular reason, but I'm going to show you just a little bit about this book. And I'm going to choose a section at the end of chapter 2, just so you can get a sense for what the book is about. Let me start this video, make sure I have the right timestamp. 15:45 is the timestamp. 15:45, there we are.
Let you dorks have all the fun, Teddy replied, smirking. Jay, John asked, you sure you're in? I paused for a moment, feeling them all looking at me. I knew what they were thinking. While Grace and Abby weren't trying so hard to be supportive, I knew them too well to know that they didn't have their doubts. They all wanted this to go well. No one wanted to feel that feeling of losing again. Even though we succeeded, it still felt like a loss. And the last thing I wanted was for them to go through that again. 1 second, I said, turning to leave the room. I ran upstairs and walked right up to my tool bag. I paused for a moment, looking at it. Maybe John has a point, I thought, before picking it up and slinging it over my shoulder. I stopped at my backpack, which was on the floor, rummaging deep inside to pull out my folded white cane, dropping that in the bag as well. And finally, I went back to my bed where I had dropped my Sherlock Holmes book. It was a bright red book with the man himself on the cover, sporting his signature cap and holding a magnifying glass. I picked it up and hurried back down the stairs into the living room. I saw my brother's eyes widen and a little smile sneak onto his mouth when he realized why I had left. Okay, I said with confidence, let's solve a mystery.
And that's just the very end of chapter 2 of Through the Magnifying Glass. So we really did want to, we're very, very, very excited that this is released in the curriculum because, as you can see, it really can connect to our learners in a way that it's very hard to sometimes, right? Especially when they're in this vulnerable place of learning to use a screen reader, as they would be in this curriculum. So that's not all. So now let's say we have learned about cursor placement, right? Let me get back to my cursor placement module. How in the world are they going to learn how to, or practice how to place their cursor using this book, right? We're not going to have them place their cursor in the middle of the book. So what are they going to do? Well, we have also, in addition, released a workbook to go along with Through the Magnifying Glass. This workbook is called Julia's Journal, Julia being the main character of Through the Magnifying Glass. Now, what will your students do? They'll do the module, they'll watch all the videos in the module, they might have a couple of practice documents in that module, ways to practice. Then they will read the corresponding chapter of Through the Magnifying Glass, and then they will come here and do the corresponding journal entry in Julia's journal. We're going to go to chapter 6 since we're in module F, cursor placement. Now, each chapter, Julia, the voice of Julia, has written a little journal entry about what happened in that chapter. So we kind of hear directly from Julia. And then we have activities for your learners to do. In this first activity, Julia has put some quotes below from the chapter, and you are supposed to highlight and bold them. Now, as you can see, that doesn't involve cursor placement, does it? It does a little bit, but they're not there yet. So this is going to be done with teacher assistance. How do I know that? Well, when we move down, this is the activity we care about, questions. Directions say, okay, now I have some questions for you. And there's an on your own sticker. This is available. This will be read with the screen reader. So once they get here, it'll say activity 2 questions on your own, as in, hey, learner, you just learned how to place your cursor. Well, now you're going to place your cursor in order to answer some of Julia's questions. Let's take a look at what some of these questions are. Ready? I do love playing sports, but sometimes it feels like PE will never be my thing. Is there anything that I can do to make participating in PE a little easier? What do you do? What are your ideas? So it really asks our learners the question, how do you accommodate somebody in PE, right? Remember back when we were looking at the book, I was reading that paragraph about being in PE and feeling uncomfortable. My goodness, does that reflect my childhood? It definitely does. Feeling uncomfortable in PE was like my forte. But it asks our learners the questions that are really embedded into this ECC that we talk about so much. And the great thing is that while they're thinking about this question, they have to place their cursor, right? Let's go back to what we were talking about with cursor placement. Remember, look to the right. So what they will have to do is they get here and they read character by character or word by word until they get to those brackets down here, right? And they'll read word by word until their cursor is between the brackets. So think about this. I'm going all the way back to like 20 minutes ago. Think about this. Their cursor is between the brackets. Your left hand is left bracket. Your right hand is right bracket. Your cursor is in the middle. What is your screen reader going to say? It's going to say right bracket, right? Look to the right. Okay. Now, they know where their cursor is. Great. Now let's answer the question. What do you think the accommodations in your PE class are? Should they work? What advice would you give Julia? Now we're hitting 2 birds with 1 stone, right? We're making this activity, how to use a screen reader, how to place your cursor, really meaningful because we are connecting with our students, not only on an emotional level, but then we're also teaching them the self-determination skills that this question kind of evokes, right? So that's why we are so excited about this curriculum. We're so excited to share it with you guys because we are trying to do the heavy lifting for you, giving you the videos so that you can do your instruction well, giving you the books so that you can get that buy-in with your learner, and giving you Julia's journal so that you already have a practice activity to do with your learner. The last thing that I want to tell you about practice activities is if I go to my module F, the last page of module F, and I scroll down, here are our practice activities. It gives you directions. Read chapter 6 of Through the Magnifying Glass, but then look at this, activities for Julia's journal, leveled practice. If your learner is feeling stressed, as in they kind of get cursor placement, but they're not feeling too great about it, they're not feeling super masterful, we've given you an easier activity to do with your learner. We've modified it down a little bit. If they feel okay, they got the question, they kind of understand what's going on, they're like, okay, I feel good. Then we've given you a level 2 activity, I feel okay, right? And if they feel great, they feel awesome, they're ready to move on, we've given them a harder activity, a level 3 activity to do, right? So Now we've also given you a way to assess your learner. Down here, note, we recommend only moving on if your learner was able to successfully do level 2 or level 3. If they did level 1, don't move on yet. Don't do it, right? Because if you see over here on the left-hand side, what's module G? Deleting and backspacing. What will they need to know in order to delete or backspace words or letters? They'll need to know how to place their cursor, right? Next module after that, selecting text. What will they need to know in order to select text like I'm doing here, to highlight text? How to highlight text with my key commands like I'm doing here? They'll need to know how to place their cursor. Formatting text, the ribbons and menus. How will they bold things? Well, in order to bold things, they need to know how to select. And in order to select, they'll need to know how to place their cursor. So don't move on because it will build on itself, right? I will say before we even end today, this curriculum, this working with text curriculum was designed to be an entire IEP cycle, right? That's what, after years and years of doing this and thinking about it and kind of turning it over in my mind, when we wrote this curriculum, I was like, I want it to be an IEP cycle. That means you're going to go very slow, right? You have a whole book to read. Don't take your time, okay? Now, before we end today, a couple of reminders. Last chance for you guys to fill out this form. Again, the form gives you a 10% off coupon in your email, no matter what. As long as you filled out the form, you will get 10% off, not only just working with text, but our entire product line. That means basic internet navigation. That means our instructor bundle of both of them, right? That means the student edition of basic internet navigation. All of our products, 10% off. Fill out the form, take advantage of that. But also when you fill out the form, again, you will get a print copy of Through the Magnifying Glass. Now this print copy, we have never even seen it yet. This is super new. You guys are getting an inside scoop to secure your copy of Through the Magnifying Glass in print. So fill out the form, all right? Take your advantage of that now. Remember, that form is going to be shut off once this live stream ends. I won't do it right away. I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to fill out the form. But after this evening, it will be shut off. So make sure you fill out the form, give us that information. And then if you are interested in this type of content, we will continue, always continue to do free content for you guys. All right. Either through our YouTube channel, like we're on now, or on our Facebook group, which is AT for VI Professionals. Now, let me get you guys that Facebook group. If you are not a part of our Facebook group, join it, because we have tons of free content that we do all the time. Here's the homepage of our Facebook group, AT for VI Professionals. All right. We can put that link in the chat, and we can also put it in the description. We also put it in the description of all of our YouTube videos. So definitely join our professional community. There we will share Tech Tip Tuesday videos, which are really short little tidbits of screen readers. We will also share different announcements, like this live stream was shared in our Facebook group. So definitely do that. And then if you do like YouTube, subscribe to us on YouTube, because then when we do live streams or we come out with new videos, you will get the inside scoop on all of that new content. If you are interested in working with text, today we gave you a little sneak peek, but if you are interested in taking that heavy lifting off of your shoulders, take a look at this. Our working with text curriculum is $349 for the instructor license. That's $349. For basic internet navigation, it's not on here, but it's $199. It's not on here because apparently I'm enrolled in it. I don't know how that happened. It's $199, $199. But we also offer an instructor bundle of both of those instructor editions for $499. So if you are interested, please reach out to us. We can definitely give you more information on that. If I go over here and make myself as public, I'm on a demo account, so sometimes I have to change back and forth. And I click on working with text, you will see this screen. This screen. You can either buy it right now, that will give you instant access with a card, or request an estimate or invoice. This is just a Google form. For those of you purchasing with school district money, go ahead and request an estimate or invoice with this form. We can go through the regular accounting process with a purchase order. All right. And then also, if you are interested, we do curriculum demos, one-on-one curriculum demos, where you can see more of the curriculum, ask more questions one-on-one, and just get more information. We are always open to doing consultations or free curriculum demos. In order to do that, go to our website. Go to our website. I'm going to just make a new tab here. itvision.com. That's EYETVISION.com. Scroll all the way to the bottom here, and you can book an event for Monday at the earliest. So go ahead and do that. Book an event if you would like a one-on-one curriculum demo. We are always open to doing it. Even if you don't want to purchase the curriculum, you just have a question, still book an event because we'll answer the question for you. Totally fine. All right. Mohammed, do you have any questions? Yeah, I was just about to go over to you. Go for it.
Yes, so we have a question from Kathleen. She commented and wrote, having developed this for one IEP cycle, how often and for how long were you considering the teacher would be meeting with the student? Daily, weekly?
I would say that's a great question, Kathleen. I've actually never gotten that question before, so thank you so much for answering it. But I will tell you, when I was considering this, I have a student that I see daily, 12 hours a week, right? And she's a new screen reader learner. She just started learning to use a screen reader last year, right? And I was considering her in mind. So that doesn't mean that we're always doing stuff like this, right? We're still learning abacus, we're still learning Braille, we're still getting her access to the general ed curriculum, still working on the ECC. We're doing all this stuff. But I would say that we do a screen reader lesson in this general vicinity about once a week, a screen reader lesson once a week. Now, that doesn't mean we are using a screen reader once a week. That means we're using a screen reader every day, but doing a direct instruction lesson like what I showed you today, probably about once a week. Okay, great question. If you have a student that's learning to use a screen reader, I would definitely recommend getting them to a point where they're using that screen reader every day, if possible. I know it's a tall order. It's a lot to ask, but that's a great question. Thank you so much for asking that. Mohammed, do we have any other questions?
Not at the moment, but do you want to announce the next event?
Absolutely. Thank you for reminding me on that. Yes, so before we wrap up today, we are excited to announce that in 2 weeks from yesterday, in 2 weeks on the 30th of November at 5 p.m. Is that right, Mohammed?
Yes, that's correct. November 30th at 5 p.m. Eastern.
November 30th, 5 p.m. Eastern. You can see why I need Mohammed. We are doing a live stream, another live stream, but this one is going to be our Voices of VIPs live stream. Now, what is Voices of VIPs? How is it different from IT Live? IT Live, we are teaching you something, we're introducing you to something just like we did today. But in Voices of VIPs, it's voices of visually impaired persons or voices of visually impaired or vision impairments professionals, either one, right? And what we're doing is we're sitting down with a person that's influential in the vision field and just really getting them to answer from their perspective all these different questions, kind of like a podcast format. Now, who are we choosing? Of course, we have to choose our partner author, Frankie Ann Marcel, who wrote Through the Magnifying Glass. So she will be joining us on November 30th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you can't make it, that is totally okay, but we may be doing a similar incentive for coming live. If you join us live, we will be giving something away as well. If you can't make it, it will always be on our YouTube channel, so totally fine, all right? But that's November 30th, 5 p.m. Before I leave, fill out the form. How many times can I say it? But really, even if you don't fill out the form, thank you guys so much for coming live to IT Live. If you're watching as a recorded video on our YouTube channel, please leave a comment below if you have a question. We would love to hear it. And it also gives us, if you do have a specific question about a specific screen reader or software, it gives us something to do a new video on. All right, so if you ask a question, you definitely read them. We consider it when we're making new content. So thank you so much for doing that in advance. Mohammed, any last questions that I might have missed before we end our stream today?
No, none that I see.
All right. Well, with that, thank you guys so much. I cannot believe we made it through without any internet difficulties. So thank you for your patience, those of you who are watching live. And we will see you in the next IT Live. Until then, we will see you on November 30th for Voices of the IPs. Bye, guys. See you then.